in Revere TV Council at Large Forum that is being televised live on Revere TV from the Susan B. Anthony School. My name is Carrie Schumann of the Revere Journal, and I will be the moderator of tonight's forum. We are happy to welcome members of the Revere High School debate team, Ava Hawks, Colby Everton, and Kevin Cano, who will be assisting in tonight's forum. The format for the forum is as follows. The candidates are seated according to the positions on the ballot. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to make their opening statements. Each candidate will be asked 2 questions that were randomly selected from a list of 9 questions. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to answer each question. At the end of the question and answer period, each candidate will be given 2 minutes for their closing remarks. The candidates present tonight are incumbents Jessica Ann Giannino, Stephen Morabito, George Rotundo, and Anthony Zambuto, and candidates Robert Capaccia, John Correggio, Dimple Rana, and Jerry Visconti. Candidates Brian Vesey and Wayne Rose were unable to attend tonight's forum. Ava Hawks will now ask the candidates to give their opening statements.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Revere City Council debate. I'd like to thank Kobe and Kevin for helping me keep time tonight. Candidates, please keep in mind tapping my gavel at 30 seconds and striking once at 2 minutes when time is up. Now, could Jessica Ann Giannino please approach the podium to give opening statements?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to be here with us this evening. I want to start by telling you a little bit about myself and my history on the City Council. I was elected for the first time in 2012. I served as Vice President in 2013, and I had the honor of being elected City Council President by my peers in 2016 and last year in 2018. I am a Revere resident, a 4th generation Revere resident, and I had the pleasure of growing up in the Revere public school system. I graduated from Revere High School, and I went on to attend Salem State University. I love this city, and I love it dearly, and I love what I do. And I hope for many more years on the City Council and many more years serving the city of Revere. Since being elected, I've had the opportunity to work on many important issues to our residents, most recently dealing with Wheeler-Brader Saugus and the issues that surround that, and really being a voice for our community and speaking up for what we believe in and making sure our residents have the best quality of life possible. So thank you all again, and I look forward to talking to everyone a little bit later.
Stephen Morabito, please approach the podium.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Morabito. I'm your counselor at large for the last 6 years. First, I would like to thank Revere TV for hosting this event, the students of the Revere High School debate team for being here. Hopefully one day you'll be up here running for office. And I would also like to thank Revere TV for videoing this for the viewers at home to watch. In my last 6 years on the council, I have made myself available for the people of Revere. I have made sure their voice has been heard. I have made sure their questions have been asked and answered. And I feel this is very important as a city councilor to make yourself available all the time, and that's exactly what I do. I look forward to participating in this debate with my colleagues and maybe soon-to-be colleagues behind me. And once again, thank you for being here tonight.
George Rotundo, please approach the podium.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Revere TV, Revere Journal, and Revere High debate team for having this forum today. My name is George Rotundo. I'm a father, a nurse. I've been blessed with the ability to speak 6 languages besides English to some level of proficiencies, which help me connect with the various people in our community. One of the things that I cherish as a city councilor is the ability to help people. The issues that we face as a community, everybody needs to work together on. This city faces a crisis regarding opiates. This is the most important thing to me as a nurse and as a father. It is the thing that scares me the most. It is one of the things that I've worked the hardest on. That said, hopefully tonight, through these questions and answers, you'll get to hear what each candidate has to offer and what their perspective is for the future based upon these questions. I thank you for your time.
Anthony Zambuto, please approach the podium.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Zambuto, your counselor at large. I want to thank everybody for putting this on, but especially the students. I think it's a great thing that they're participating. So I've been a city councilor for quite a while, and a lot of people ask me, why do you keep doing this? Why do you want to run for council again? The simple answer is, I make a difference on the Revere City Council. Anybody that watches it, I think, would agree. The theme of my campaign, and some of you may have seen my ads or may not have, is if a city councilor tells you the truth, they care about you. If they tell you what you want to hear, they care about themselves. I always tell the truth. Now, that doesn't make me the most popular councilor, but it's something I live by. Now, I came to the city council a long time ago with a goal. The goal was to build a police station. Our police officers were in a condemned building. We were about to be forced by OSHA to put them in trailers. It was going to cost us $4 million. I convinced or lobbied my colleagues that that $4 million would be better to be put towards the mortgage of the police station instead of into trailers. We succeeded. We had a surcharge, that was special legislation for a surcharge to pay for that mortgage, and it worked well for a while until the airport forced the Thrifty and Hertz to move to the airport. We lost all that surcharge. Bottom line is I negotiated for Hertz to operate from that facility to supplement what we lost. We lost $1 million a year when we went to the airport. That supplement is $800,000 a year. I created that. Those are the type of things I do on this city council. I look out for the taxpayer. I want to thank you all.
Please approach the podium.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming. My name is Robert Capaccia. I'm a first-time candidate for councilor at large. I'm a lifelong resident of this city. I'm a business owner, and I'm concerned about what's going on with the city. We're losing businesses instead of gaining businesses. All the small businesses around town seem to be folding because the rents are getting out of control, and they're getting out of control with the housing, too. And I'm hoping if I can make some kind of impact on this and keep the businesses in the city, I plan on doing that. I went to Immaculate Conception High School, graduated in 1971. I'm a sports enthusiastic person, and I'm glad that the Revere High School football team is finally doing well. I've been members of a winning team my whole life, playing sports, coaching sports, and I'd like to be a member of the winning team at the Revere City Council. Give me a vote, number 5 on the ballot. Thank you very much.
John Correggio, please approach the podium.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Revere TV and Revere Journal for allowing me to speak before you. I was born in Boston, grew up in Revere all my life, graduate of Revere High School, 1965. I'm a graduate of Northeast Institute of Industrial Technology, retired fire lieutenant, 32 years with the city of Revere, 9 years city councilor, and 6 years on the Revere School Committee. I'm running for this office because I care for the city of Revere, and I love public safety. I like helping people, and I'm very open-minded no matter what I do in my life. We have to move Revere into the 21st century. We have to look for the future, where we're going in the next 10 years. Just a couple of things. People are all upset with the overwhelm of apartment buildings. And if I get on the council, I want a 2-year moratorium. I need more apartments. And the other thing is a traffic study. With Suffolk Downs, HYM building 13,000 units, it's going to be crucial for the city of Revere. We're going to be inundated with traffic. We have to address it. We have to start working on it now before it gets worse. And also on the boulevard with these apartments, we're stuck with them now. I want to see, to accommodate the boulevard people, I'd like to see a Walgreens come there in one of those buildings to accommodate the boulevard and accommodate that area down there, because there's nothing around there. Public safety, I want a ladder truck and a pump down the Pines, because public safety is important. Those buildings and high-rises are going to we need services. And with the new fire station, a ladder truck and a pump would be appropriate. And the last part is the Revere Police. I want to see 2 men police cruisers. We need 2 officers in a car. It's too dangerous to send a cruiser out there. All right, thank you. Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Correggio. Could we please have Dimple J. Rana please approach the podium?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dimple Rana, and I'm a Democrat, and I'm running for Councilor at Large here in Revere. Before I get started, I want to acknowledge my family and supporters who are here tonight and watching at home. Without my family and many of you, I wouldn't be here today, standing tall, proud, and running for office. I'm the first person in my family born here in the United States. I was raised here in Revere and graduated in 1998 from Revere High School with another Revere politician, Mayor Brian Arrigo. After moving away for college and for work, I moved back 9 years ago. And for the past 8 years, I worked at Revere City Hall. I started off as a part-time neighborhood organizer. And just 2 years ago, I became the first person of color and only a handful of women to lead a city department as the Director of Healthy Community Initiatives and co-leader of Revere on the Move, which is a collaboration between my city department and the MGH Revere Cares Coalition, where we work on public health policies, systems, and environmental changes. At City Hall, I work hard every day to make Revere a healthier place to eat, live, work, and play. It's not easy, as anyone who's been watching City Council meetings can tell you. But I love my work, and I will always stand up for my colleagues and with my colleagues in my programs. Outside my day job, I've worked hard to build our city's civic capacity and our city's residents' ability to come together to improve our community. What I see over and over again in my work is how hard it is for folks to make their voices heard in our city. And I'm running so that everyone in our city, longtime residents and immigrants, new arrivals, and small businesses, has a say in the future of Revere. And to do that, we need to take action now and fix the problems facing our city. As City Councilor, I pledge that I will work with you and for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Could we please have Jerry Visconti approach the podium?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jerry Visconti. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for the opportunity to humbly ask for one of your 5 votes for City Councilor at Large. As a longtime resident and a small business owner in the city, my wife Danielle and I have decided to put down our roots in this great city and raise our 4 children here. Since being elected into the school committee, I've had the great opportunity to meet and talk with many of you about your concerns and the issues facing our families, our schools, and generally our community. And while our future is great, we can all agree that there is more work to be done. Tonight, I pledge to you, if elected into the City Council, I will continue to keep your interests front and center. Working together, I believe we can have a safer city, great schools, new business and employment opportunities, quality services for our seniors, and creative solutions for urban transportation. It would truly be an honor to sit on the City Council of this great city and represent you, the residents of Revere. Thank you again for taking the time to listen. I'm excited to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. We will now transition into questioning. If we could have Ms. Giannino please approach the podium for her first question. Do you think that there should be regularly scheduled joint conferences of the City Council and the school committee, and how would you get involved in the planning of a brand new high school?
Thank you. So my answer to this is short and sweet, no. I think that there's a reason that we elect a city council, and there's a reason that we elect a school committee. Something that's very, very important, though, is that we have good communication between both of us. And I think since I've been on the council, I know that I can always approach the school committee when I have a concern and need to address some concerns of residents. And I know they also feel welcomed in the council chamber whenever an issue comes that needs to be addressed in front of us. But I think that there's a reason that the people of this city elect a school committee and a reason that they elect a city council. But it's our job as elected officials to work together for the residents. Regarding the second part of the question, the new high school, I think that it's important as a city councilor and in my role to listen to the concerns of the residents. This is a very substantial investment in our city. We're talking upwards of $300 million. So it's important that there are features of this that everybody in the city can enjoy. If you have school-age children, but also our seniors and other people, that there are halls like this that we can have community forums, that there's open space that we can have meetings, that there's areas for recreation and for after-school activities, sports, dances, and fun events. You know, City Hall used to be a place where we could have functions, but as all of you know, it's an aging structure. So hopefully this new building could be a place where we could have dances for our seniors, we could have community forums, we could have meetings, and we could really make it a place for the whole city to be proud of. So that's what I believe my role on the council is, and thank you.
Ms. Giannino, we have one more question for Ms. Giannino. Oh, she goes, oh no, you can sit down. Sorry, that's my fault. Yes, Mr. Morabito, you can approach the podium. Sorry. What are the two most important issues facing the city of Revere, and what role should the city council play in addressing them?
So, there are many issues that our residents in our city faces, but the two that stand out is the traffic, the regional traffic that we have that comes through our city each day. And also, since we're a coastal community, the erosion of our beach line that causes flooding more and more every year because of rising sea levels. So my quick solution my quick 2-minute solution for traffic, our city currently just got funding to re-signalize Broadway. So 7 intersections along Broadway will get re-signalized. This modernization will help improve inner city traffic. As far as citywide traffic, there's 2 steps. We need to encourage our residents to take public transportation. Next, we need to invest in a public transportation infrastructure. We need to get a commuter rail stop behind Wonderland and have a Wonderland to Blue Line connection. As far as coastal erosion, we have just got approved, we just got designated for MVP designation where we can have a feasibility study to Riverside and Point of Pines, do a feasibility study on the flooding that's going on there and help. Am I being gaveled? Sorry. Thank you. Oh, okay, sorry. I thought I heard a gavel. I apologize. it was really my way to get an extra minute. So, with the being designated as MVP status by the state, we're now doing I see him going like this. Are you telling me to cut it? Who am I taking orders from, you or him? Okay.
Mr. Rotundo, please approach the podium for his first question. How will you ensure that local businesses will prosper under your leadership?
Well, to be quite honest with you, it's not one councilor that can do that. It has to be a combination of the council, the mayor. And there are several ways that this can be accommodated. One is through a TIF, which is a tax incentive financing, in which you help bring businesses to the community of Revere. And by doing that, you offer them basically a discount on their taxes, and in lieu of them hiring more Revere residents, bringing their business to Revere, such as Amazon, which just recently came to the city for their distribution center. We are also an enterprise zone, so there are also some federal programs that we can also enjoin with the city of Chelsea. We've done in the past regarding various enterprise zones throughout the entire city for what was it, the sign program and various other programs within the city to help. Yeah. Thank you.
If we could please have Mr. Zambuto approach the podium for his first question. The former Wonderland Park site offers a tremendous development opportunity for the city. Would you consider the construction of a professional soccer stadium on the site, or, in lieu of that, what would you like to see developed?
Well, my quick answer is absolutely not for a soccer stadium, for many reasons, not to mention the traffic. I want to see something at Wonderland Park. Wonderland Park is a valuable piece of property. It's one of our most, what I consider a treasured asset in the city. There are many acceptable uses there for this site. I would say something like the HYM project at Suffolk Downs. Now, there's so much misinformation about 13,000 apartments. There's 2,500, I think, in Revere. And we're guaranteed 50% commercial development. That's what I would want to see at Wonderland, something like that guarantees high-end commercial restaurants, hotels. Again, to waste that on a soccer stadium would be just not the way to go in my eyes. You know, we've long sought good things to happen at Wonderland. We finally got the building torn down after all these years, and we're looking for special things there. Certainly not a soccer stadium, not if I'm on the council. I won't support that. So that's where I stand with that, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zambuto. If we could have Mr. Capaccia please approach the podium for his first question. What can be done to bring young professionals to the city of Revere without alienating longtime residents?
Okay. A few years ago, I was a member of the Saugus Rotary Club, and one of the bylaws was, is it fair to everyone concerned? I would want it fair to senior citizens, working class people like myself, and everybody else up here that works. I know we all do. It's going to be hard to get young professionals to come to Revere. The rents are over $2,000 a month. If they want to open a business and rent a professional spot, God knows what the rent's going to be for them for that. They can't get around town. I don't know why they want to come here. We have to make some compromises amongst us to attract people to come here, especially young professionals. They're our future. We're shaping their future right now. So let's shape it in the right way that'll be fair to all concerned and we can get some kids to come in here, young adults, whatever you want to call them, college grads. They're already burdened with student debt, insurance bills, health insurance, and everything else you could think of for bills. They don't need astronomical rents for, for their business and their housing. We need to do something to help them out. Thank you.
Mr. Correggio, please approach the podium for your first question. The former Wonderland Park, this is the same question, offers a tremendous development opportunity for the city. Would you consider the construction of a professional soccer stadium, or in lieu of that, what would you like to see developed on the site?
Definitely not a soccer stadium. Again, that's going to create traffic and hurt the neighborhood. The first thing, being on the city council, I would invite the neighborhood, because they live there, to come to the council meeting, listen what they have to say, and see what they want there. I would like to see, it's only my opinion, either an office park or a hospital, and have some stores where people could come with their families and children in that area. But first, give the respect to the neighborhood. The neighborhood comes first. We want to hear what they want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Correggio. Ms. Rona, if you could approach the podium for your first question. What can be done to bring young professionals to the city of Revere without alienating longtime residents?
I reject putting young professionals up against longtime residents as if they're in competition. Talking to people at the doors and at community meetings, there is broad agreement that our city wants thriving businesses and to see Revere Beach full of people from across Greater Boston all year long, and not just during the International Sand Sculpting Festival. Our longtime residents want to see a diverse and vibrant Revere. And young professionals want to live in a place with a rich and viable history. What is attracting people to Revere has always attracted people to our city: a beautiful public beach, and the only public beach in the country that's accessible by public transportation by 2 MBTA stations. Not only is our public beach cleaner and more accessible than the ones in South Boston, but we have more bars and more restaurants on the water. We have Mexican tacos, El Salvadorian pupusas, Colombian arepas, Italian restaurants, seafood, and the best North African and Southeast Asian restaurants in Greater Boston. All of it is close to the T, minutes from State Street and Government Center. When you look around at what's happening in neighboring communities and what they're doing to bring in professionals of all kinds, young and old, it's food trucks, beer gardens, and they're all in engaging open spaces. We need to pass a food truck ordinance to make food trucks a regular feature on Revere Beach and across our city. We need to have a community-wide conversation about how the Revere Beach Partnership can do more outside the Sand Sculpting Festival to promote the beat. I want to see a strategy from the Revere Chamber of Commerce aimed at letting people outside of the city know about all the positive things going on. I want a vision on how to further enhance the food scene in our city. It always amazes me that we don't have billboards and advertisements in downtown Boston letting people know that we're just a few stops away on the Blue Line. Thank you.
Thank you. If we could have Mr. Visconti please approach the podium for his first question. Revere mayors currently serve 4-year terms. Do you favor city councilor terms being lengthened from a 2-year term to a 4-year term?
Regardless of the term limits, members of the City Council have to be accessible, responsible, and accountable for their actions. The Council represents the residents of Revere, period. Ultimately, it should be a ballot question, I feel. If the residents of Revere feel that a 4-year term for councils, I will support it. If the majority of the residents feel that the 2-year term is appropriate, I'll support that. If elected, I will make responsible decisions, be accountable, and respect the opinions of our constituents, regardless of the term, whether it's 2 or 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Giannino, if you could approach the podium for your second question. Have another repeat question. The former Wonderland Park site offers a tremendous development opportunity for the city. Would you consider the construction of a professional soccer stadium on the site, or in lieu of that, what would you like to see developed?
Thank you. It's a hot question this evening. So I think it's really important to acknowledge that as a city councilor, it's my job to consider all options. So it's really important that we look at the big picture and consider everything that involves that proposal. So if we're talking about a professional soccer stadium, I want to know what the traffic impact is. I want to see a traffic study. I want to know when the schedule of games are. I want to know when this is going to impact our residents. I want to know what the public safety plan is and how is this going to impact our police department and our fire department. These are all valid things that as a city council we need to look at when considering any proposal. Ideally, what I would like to see is a commercial development, commercial office space, something for technology, for healthcare. Those types of developments relieve a lot of the issues our residents have. When I talk to people, the two biggest concerns they have are their tax rates and their water rates. And the only thing that can help offset that is commercial tax revenue. And that will help to offset those payments and those burdens on our residents. So if we look at a piece of land like this, that's such a gem in our community, we want to put something there that's not going to strain our fire department, it's not going to strain our police department, it's not going to cause more traffic in the city. It's right on public transportation, so if you put a professional office commercial space, people can commute, they can come here, they can work here, they can live here, and it won't impact our public safety, it won't impact our city services, and it won't strain our infrastructure. So in a perfect world, that's what I'd hope to see there, but we will see. Thank you.
Mr. Morabito, if you could approach the podium for your second question, please. At the school committee candidates forum last week, John Kingston suggested the hiring of a grant manager for the school district. Would you support the establishment of one grant writer's position for the municipal and school-related grants?
So first, let me start off by saying I admire Mr. Kingston's ambition to add another position to the school line item to potentially get more revenue, more funding for the school. But currently, the school enjoys $9 million in grant funding implemented by administrators and directors of various departments that students can enjoy. In addition, we have teachers and principals who have secured $500,000 in small grant funds. So if the superintendent felt that they needed the city council to approve and allocate funds for this position, I would be in favor. But according to the superintendent who I spoke to, she says the challenge with employing a full-time grant writer is they don't typically have the expertise in each of the various content areas to what a teacher and student needs. There is also a full-time grant budget manager in the business that handles the business. And she feels that adding this position will just create another step and make funding even more complex, less than simple. Simplify it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morabito. If we could have Mr. Rotundo please approach the podium for his second question. Given the fact that we are a coastal community and most of Revere is below sea level, what preparations should city officials be taking for the coming winter?
Well, to kind of coalesce off the first question, you know, the city of Revere major economic base is basically in a floodplain. Suffolk Downs, Wonderland Dog Track. So no matter how much you do as far as incentivization, no matter how much you try to get the community in an enterprise zone in order to get grants and funds. You need to work with the federal government in order to buttress all the issues along the coastline. This is something that the expertise of the City Council, or for that matter the City of Revere, does not have, but the Corps of Engineers have. We need to go to the federal government and get them involved in this community to really handle these very, very complex issues. It's not going to be at the hands of the City of Revere. If you take a look at what has taken place throughout the city, in particular down on Revere Beach, much of that work was done by the Corps of Engineers. So we need to get the Corps of Engineers to handle those issues, in particular down at the Point of Pines, down at Riverside, and including all the way down to Short Beach, because any infiltration from that point forward and backwards is going to have demonstrable change to every economic base in the city, from Shirley Avenue to Wonderland Dog Track, as I said earlier, and even backwards as far as the high school, which is also in a floodplain. So thank you.
Rotundo. Mr. Zambuto, if you could approach the podium for your second question, please. So this is another repeat question. At the school committee candidates forum last week, John Kingston suggested the hiring of a grant manager for the school district. Would you support the establishment of one grant writer's position for municipal and school-related grants?
Let me give a shout out to my friend John Kingston for thinking outside the box. However, I have a little different idea of how to deal with this. I would consider hiring a professional grant writer because you get more money for your buck. And I'm an 18-year board member of CAPIC. CAPIC currently writes the grants for the Revere Police Department. For the tremendous sum of $32,000 a year, they produce $800,000 in grants. I spoke recently with the, well, now former director of CAPIC, and for $50,000, they could do the grant writing for the school department. So, great idea, great thinking how we can bring in more revenue, but I hope you appreciate my friendly amendment to your idea. We have John Kingston in the audience. I'm not looking into space here. So, but so anyhow, that's where I stand on this, and I think grant writers are great, but if we hired one, we have to probably pay $70,000 or $80,000 for the position plus benefits. We can get a lot more bang for the buck by just going to CAPIC, who already services the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zambuto. If we could have Mr. Capaccia please approach the podium for his second question. And this is the same question about Wonderland Park and the development. So would you consider the construction of a professional soccer stadium, or in lieu of a soccer stadium, what else would you like to see developed on the site?
Okay. I don't think a professional soccer stadium is the right answer. Every time you see a soccer game on TV, you see a riot, people getting trampled, and everything else happening. I don't want that in Revere. It would be nice to have a nice nightclub to take your wife to dinner, a restaurant, not some, broken down places along Revere Beach. A train station would be nice. Maybe even a function hall to have weddings and stuff like that we could use. I know we have one now, maybe a couple, but that could have something large, that if you wanted to have a wedding with 300 or 400 people, you could have it and not worry about where to park like some of the places we have around here now where you really can't park. There isn't accommodations to park 300 cars. I know they'd be able to park a lot of cars down there. I do not want to see apartments or condominiums go in, because history repeats itself, as what happened on Ocean Ave with the condominiums that were supposed to be condominiums, which are now Section 8 buildings. I just don't want to see that happen again to all the buildings that are going around town now. Unfortunately, it might happen because history does repeat itself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Capaccia. If we could have Mr. Correggio please approach the podium for his second question. So this is another repeat question of John Kingston's proposal of hiring a grant manager for the school district. So would you support the establishment of one grant writer's position for municipal and school-related grants?
I do support a grant writer, but I'm trying to save the city some money. My idea, being on the city council, we have a city solicitor who's familiar with the state statute and federal statute. I would say the city solicitor should work along with the administration and the school department to come up with something, grants, particularly with the new high school. It's going to cost over $300 million, and it's important that we get the right grants to try to save the taxpayers some money. So working with the city solicitor and the school administration, we could save a salary. Thank you.
And if we could have Ms. Rana please approach the podium for her second question. Given the fact that we are a coastal community and most of Revere is below sea level, what preparations should city officials be taking for the coming winter?
Revere was recently included in the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program, which now allows the city to apply for grants focused on dealing with the effects of climate change. This is the kind of proactive step that I want to see more of. We need to continue taking those kinds of steps because what climate scientists are telling us and what you can see and read with the climate resiliency plans put out by Boston and the state is that storms are going to get worse every year. Look at today's storm. The master plan is going to include some climate resiliency planning, but we need a plan specifically focused on climate. All of us remember the scenes from New York City, Hoboken, New Jersey, with Superstorm Sandy. And if a storm like that hits Massachusetts, our city is going to bear a lot of that damage. And that is why it is essential that the City of Revere develop an emergency plan, preferably in collaboration with the City of Boston and other coastal neighbors, since we would all be affected by something like Sandy happening here. I appreciate this question because as voters, I think about this issue a lot, especially with other polluters in our neighborhood, in our city, in our community, where we have the Wheelabrator on one side and then we have the airport on the other. We need to have leaders who believe in science and believe that we need to take action now to deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rana. If we could have Mr. Visconti please approach the podium for his second question. So this is also a question about the Wonderland Park site. This is a question that was chosen a lot by our candidates in the question raffle. So would you consider the construction of a professional soccer stadium, or in lieu of a soccer stadium, what would you like to see developed on the site?
I must say you're probably tired of hearing the responses here tonight about this question. But Wonderland is one of the many opportunities in front of us for smart development. Necco, Suffolk Downs, the beach, and Wonderland, each are all prime opportunities to enrich our community. Similar to the breaking news today about Amazon coming to Revere and making Revere their home at the Necco plant. This is great news for the city of Revere. Wonderland is a unique opportunity due to its central location and its access points north and south. Whether a soccer stadium, a large-scale commercial development, a commercial retail development, the parcel ultimately has to contribute to the financial stability of the city of Revere. It was once a popular site that I remember going to with my dad, and hopefully it will be that again. Thank you.
Mr. Visconti. That completes our candidates' 2 rounds of questioning. I'll now begin to call up candidates to give closing statements. Ms. Giannino, please approach the podium.
Thank you. Since 2012, I've had the pleasure of representing each and every one of you, and I can honestly say that being a city councilor has been the most rewarding part of my professional career. I've had the opportunity to meet with so many people in the city and in every part of the city, And as a councillor at large, I get to work in every ward. I've had a chance to work with councillors McKenna and Powers in wards 1 and 5 and deal with people's concerns down the beach and with Wheelabrator. I've worked with Councillor Patch and Councillor Keefe in wards 4 and 6 in dealing with parking issues and the problems we face in wards 4 and 6. But as a city councillor at large, it's our job to really be a voice of everyone in the city and to look at projects and not only think about how they impact the neighborhood, but how they impact the city of a whole. And it's been a real pleasure doing that. And I hope that people can see that I've been a voice of reason and a voice for the people of the city of Revere. I want to really take a moment to thank the people that have supported me over the past 8 years. I want to thank the city for your overwhelming support that I've had. And I really want to take a moment to thank my committee. I couldn't do it without you guys holding signs, and for the people that put signs up in their yard and put stickers up. And I want to thank my family, because the reality of it is when I started 8 years ago, people knew them, and they had fond memories of my grandparents, my father, my aunts, my uncles. And if it wasn't for the roots that I have, I wouldn't be able to plant everything that I have in the city. So thank you all, and please consider me for one of your 5 votes on November 5th.
Thank you, Ms. Giannino. If you could have Mr. Morabito please approach the podium to give his closing remarks.
Thank you again, everyone, for being here tonight. In my 6 years, I was not a 1 or 2 issue counselor. I'm not one to tout myself in all that I do, because I know it takes a whole council and a mayor to pass something. It takes the council to pass a motion and the mayor to implement it. But I am proud to say I stood behind smart technology and introduced motion to get rid of our old, outdated parking meters and get smart meters. I'm proud to put in a motion for the mayor to look for funding to install LED crosswalks throughout our city. These are things that will help improve pedestrian safety, and not only that, help businesses, for instance, traffic flow coming in and out of their business, people walking on crosswalks. When it comes to parking meters, people don't have to worry about broken meters and, oh, I can't come into your business because I don't have a quarter, but I don't want to get a ticket. I have also shown my support for the citizens of Revere. As I put forward a motion for the mayor to implement a human rights commission. I have also shown my support for the seniors as I supported a ballot measure where they could potentially get 10% discount in tax. And I have also put forth a motion where veterans can now receive $750 in a tax exemption. So with that said, it has been an honor to serve you, and I look forward to serving you for another 6 years. Please consider me for one of your 5 votes on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morabito. If we could have Mr. Rotundo please approach the podium to give his closing remarks.
Again, I'd like to thank everybody for having this forum and symposium. I think it was great to let the public know where we all stand on the issues. My entire tenure as a public official has been to stand up for those who are unable to stand up for themselves, to fight for people in the neighborhoods, people like Mrs. Sorrentino down on Warren Ave, who had to deal with drug dealers next to her house, or Arthur Pantano and Mr. Murphy up on Park Avenue had to deal with properties that were infested with rodents and cockroaches, or for that matter, fighting drug dealers down on Rumney Road for Candy Vero. These are the things that I've done as a city councilor, but more importantly, these are the things that we should all be doing as neighbors. As a city councilor, it has been my pleasure to serve you, but more importantly, work for you. At the council, I act as a check and balance for the city. Someone has to have that position. George Carl used to have it before me, Tony Zambuto's dear friend. With that said, we have a bright future ahead of us, and if we all work together, we can accomplish more. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rotundo. Mr. Zambuto, please approach the podium to give your closing remarks.
Well, I already told you, as the Dean of the Council, why I'm running for re-election. I make a difference. But I'm running for re-election on my record. It's a record of accomplishment. It's a record of achievement. Aside from leading the fight to build the public safety facility, there's something I'm even at least as proud of. I changed the special permit law. You used to be able to get a special permit the same night as a public hearing if you secured 8 votes. What happened then was you'd find out that a proposal had some stuff in it that you might not like. I put sunlight on the special permit laws. That'll change the city council for the next 50 years. Long after I'm gone, you won't be able to secure a special permit the same night as a public hearing. I'm proud of that. And some people didn't like it. Some people told me it was, you know, the worst thing you could have done. Well, what it was the best thing I could have done. I wear it as a badge of honor because it limits any chance of corruption or even just a flawed proposal. You know, I could list several. I talked about Thrifty, how I brought in $800,000 a year to finish paying the mortgage on the police station, that the taxpayers don't have to pay, because I was aware enough to know that they were working, they were operating there, and I got them to make a deal that register all the cars from the airport at our site so we could get the excise tax. That's thinking out of the box. That's looking out for the taxpayers. That's making a difference. That's what I do. I make a difference on the city council. And so, you know, rather than going on and on about the many accomplishments that I have achieved over the years on the council, I simply ask you to elect me as your city councilor by giving me one of your 5 votes, Anthony T. Zambuto, 4th name on the ballot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Zambuto. Mr. Capaccio, please approach the podium to give your closing remarks.
Thank you. Well, here we are. My first time running, and I'm very excited about it. I've met so many wonderful people running around the city. Believe me, I've been running. I've been trying to hit all the streets I can possibly hit, knock on doors, and I've met so many great people. A lot of people might know me as Bobby Z Best Fence, because that's what everybody thinks I am, Bobby Z Best Fence. But there's a lot more to Bobby than just being Z Best Fence. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a grandfather, I'm a brother, and I'm a friend to many. So I've always been tried to be part of a winning team, and I'd like to be part of this winning team. My slogan is, had enough, because I know I have. Things that have gone on around town the past few years, I'm pretty disappointed with. And if they want some change, vote for me, number 5 on the ballot, Robert Capaccio, and I promise you, things will change. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Capaccio. Mr. Correggio, could you please approach the podium to give your closing remarks?
Thank you very much. I want to thank the Revere Journal, Revere TV, and the residents in the audience for listening to me. I take my job very seriously. I love Revere. I put 100% into the job when I was on the council. I want to come back there because I have the knowledge and I have the expertise to move Revere forward for the 21st century, especially in the area of building construction and apartments, and also taxes. We got the highest taxes ever. I had to pay three tax increases. And our seniors are going to sell their house because they can't afford the taxes. I want to see some type of a tax break, working with the mayor and the city council with some type of a percentage for seniors and veterans to try to keep them in their own home and not go into a nursing home. My heart's with the city. I always pay attention to detail. I'm a good listener. The neighborhoods come first no matter what the issue is. Consider me November 5th one of your 5 votes for council at large. You won't be sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Correggio. Ms. Rana, please approach the podium to give your closing remarks.
Thank you to my fellow candidates, to the moderators, to the audience, and everyone who's watching tonight. Once again, my name is Dimple Rana, and I'm a Democrat running for City Councilor at large. Tonight is not the end of my campaign or the conversation about what our city needs. That's why I'm hosting 2 Facebook town halls next week to talk about 2 issues that the next City Council will face a lot: traffic and education. On Monday night, I'm talking to Eric Fearing, the president of the Revere Teachers Association, about the education funding battle happening up on Beacon Hill and what we can do here in Revere to better support public education. I'm also talking to Anna Rodriguez, a local child care provider and small business owner, to discuss the challenges and potential solutions in operating a family daycare service here in Revere. On Wednesday night, I'm talking to Professor Mark Chase from Tufts University, who has been a transportation planner for more than 20 years. We're going to talk about traffic in Revere and what we can do to take it on. My other guest is Steve Winslow, Councilor at Large in Malden, and co-founder of Bike to the Sea, a nonprofit that has been working on creating the Northern Strand Community Trail, a trail free of cars from Everett to the beaches of Lynn, Revere, and Nahant. We will discuss how we can work together and with neighboring communities to create a set of regional traffic priorities. In addition to those 2 Facebook town halls, I'm also going to post all these answers on my Facebook page tonight. You can find it at facebook.com/Rana4Revere. I'm putting out all this information because I believe that people need to know where candidates stand. I am running to build a One Revere where we're taking care of each other, makes us stand stronger together. I humbly ask for your support for Councilor at Large on November 5th. Keep it simple, vote for Dimple. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rana. Mr. Visconti, please approach the podium to give your closing remarks.
Thank you for taking the time to listen this evening. Like you, I'm passionate about Revere and what it has to offer. As a city, we are at a crossroads. We must move forward with a clear agenda to improve the lives of all of our residents. We want our vibrant seniors to take part in our plan for the future, just as we want our young, energetic folks to take pride in the city that they call home now. We can do that. Working together, we can face our urban issues. With a goal in mind, let's look for traffic congestion solutions. Let's push for expanded, more reliable public transportation. Let's explore water taxis. Let's attract new businesses with incentives. Let's support our small businesses and do business with them. Let's provide opportunities for all of our youths in academics, music, the arts, and athletics. And finally, let's encourage home ownership and newcomers to invest in our community. Again, I humbly ask for one of your 5 votes for City Councilor at Large. If elected, please note, I will be a voice for you. Thank you again and the opportunity tonight, and hope to see you at the polls on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for tonight's forum that will be shown again in the coming weeks on this channel and on YouTube Live. We thank the candidates for making this forum possible by their participation. We thank our media partner, Revere TV, Bob Dunbar, and his staff. We thank Superintendent of Revere Public Schools, Dr. Diane Kelly, for allowing us to broadcast this forum from the Susan B. Anthony Auditorium, and Mark Fellows, Faculty Advisor for the Revere High School debate team, for working with us on this debate. We want to give special thanks to Ava Hawks, for asking the questions. Great job, Ava. Colby Everton. Colby Everton, who gave the 30-second warning, and Kevin Cano, who kept the time for the candidates' remarks. Thank you. On October 24th, next Thursday, a debate of the candidates for mayor. Mayor Brian Arrigo and Councilor-at-Large Dan Rizzo will be televised live from this auditorium. This is a very active political season in Revere, and remember to get out and vote on Tuesday, November 5th. Thank you so much.